is Sheila Butler with Successful Women Talk, and I am excited today. We have guest Becca Niederkram, and she has a very interesting business and story that I can't wait to share with you all. She owns a business, computertutorforseniors.com. So she's going to share her background with us, a little bit about her story. So help me welcome Becca. Hi.
Hi, Sheila. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you for joining me. I am excited to learn a little bit more about your business because we all have seniors in our lives that we seem to always be helping from a tech perspective. But before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got started in business?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have to say that I've been an entrepreneur since the beginning of my life, almost. So I call it the entrepreneur bug. And unfortunately, as many people who know and who are watching this show, it's sort of hard to shake. So I was always looking as a youngster to solve problems. And so I had I think a finance, I'll put it in air quotes, a finance company when I was probably 9 years old. And then I had the Babysitters Club. I was influenced by the books. And then I had a swimming business as a young teenager onto my early 20s. And so I just really loved looking for problems. But at the heart of it, I loved to teach. And so even as I was growing up, I always thought, oh, I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to be an elementary school teacher. Little did I know that we sort of decide on what we want to be, but of course it shows up in different ways. So I've been teaching all along. And a little bit about my company now that I'm just very, very passionate about, Computer Tutor for Seniors, is I was working actually in Silicon Valley. So I'm working in all this technology, and of course technology changes every day. I mean, I open my computer in the morning and check my Facebook, and there's something new, a new Retina display, a new software update I have to do, and I was sort of part of that wheel to update the software and create new hardware and new fixes for people. And the whole point was to connect people. But what happened was I was working at this level. I was working with a manufacturer and resellers, but then I would work at the level of my end user. My end users happen to be usually professors or teachers in the school district, public school system, etc. And the whole purpose of technology was to connect, and the connection wasn't happening because it was all changing so fast that people got frustrated or they weren't committed to it. And so this tool for connection, nobody was connecting that needed to. And I really felt there was something, there's got to be a better way, as Donnie Deutsch would say. And so I just had this mission. I said, I'm going to create something and be a filter, a funnel for all those out there that are new users. And so senior citizens in particular is my focus. I work with baby boomers, but I really think about the person who, if you didn't have to have the computer or the internet, didn't have it in school, grade school, high school, you didn't have it in college, nor did you teach it to your children, it has nothing to do with your intelligence level. It just is your familiarity and your experience with it. And so I wanted to target those people and help those people connect. And so that's sort of how Computer Tutor for Seniors came around, so I can connect simply and joyfully those with the technology so they can Skype with their friends and family or email without any problem. And I knew that it also had to be something that families needed to hire an expert for, because if you've ever tried to teach someone in your own family or your own mother, sorry mom,
yeah,
it can almost cause World War III.
Yes.
And so many battles and so much frustration that I knew that this was something that needed to be outsourced by someone who could come up with a system and specialize in it. So that's how I got started, and absolutely see more and more every day that there's a need for it, and absolutely love what I do.
I love that story. I'm so glad you shared that with us. And it's very interesting. You said a couple of things that really probably brought it full force around to me. Is that seniors, maybe we take it for granted. We did grow up with those things, and our children really are growing up with all those things. So maybe I should be a little more patient, what I'm thinking, when my mother or my mother-in-law, whatever, doesn't understand the iPhone or thinks they're going to break something every time they log on or do something. So it's just such a good point.
Yeah, it's what I hear a lot from my clients is that their kids come in and it's like this ambush, this tornado comes in and the kids say, oh, just click here, and that's it. But if it's someone who is brand new to the computer, they're very hesitant. So the way they hold the mouse or maneuver on a trackpad on a laptop, there's a lot of hesitancy. And we know, and everyone younger than us does know, that a sign out button is probably on the top right of a screen or on the top left. A new user doesn't have that familiar sense. And so it is of utmost importance that that's taken into consideration. But no one thinks that way because we've been on computers, it seems like, in the internet forever. But really, we haven't, and our seniors definitely have not been on it forever or feel that it's safe to use or they're comfortable using it.
Very good point. Now, let me just step back a second. So you were an entrepreneur from birth, basically. Now, were your parents entrepreneurs as well, or did they have normal jobs? Or
yes, they were, much to their dismay. They had very normal jobs. My father's an electrical engineer, so I think that's where I started computer programming at a very young age. So I was very comfortable with the computer from very early on with his exposure, and he used to help me enter into computer programming contests when I was on a Commodore, I believe.
Wow, back in the
day, in the 80s. And my mom did a lot of administrative work and was also a stay-at-home mom. So they always wanted they wanted the best for me, which meant a cubicle job. And somehow I just can't make that happen because there's just, life is short, and I have a lot of passion for what I do. And I don't like playing by the rules of corporate America. It doesn't mean that I'm not a good player. I want to bring it. I want to bring this passion to life, and I want to help people without a million meetings in a day. I just want to go.
Death by meeting. I totally agree. And that the nice thing is that what I really love about learning more about empowering women is that women are intelligent by at any level, because we can multitask, we can run families, we can have jobs, we can do all of those things. But the nice thing is you don't have to play by the 9-to-5 rule anymore. You don't have to. You can play by your own rules, and that's what you're doing, right? You're working from home, you're playing by your rules, and you're still very successful at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the most important life lesson is find what you love and just do it. Now, if it means that you need to have a part-time job or a weekend job to make things happen, I'm just in the midst of do whatever it takes. This is what I want to do. I want to help these people, and I want to be a voice for those that are misunderstood, and it's senior citizens. And, if that's my passion, I've got to do whatever it takes to make it happen. And as we see online, things are starting to evolve, that people are realizing that life is short. Let's bring our passions. There is a way. The computers allow us to bring just different business types to other people. So do whatever it takes, and work by a plan and just make it happen. Live your passion. As the economy shifts and changes and evolves, there's no better person to count on than yourself to bring that to fruition.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. So you were in Silicon Valley and you're working with a manufacturing company. So what makes you have this shift to say, now I'm going to work with seniors? Because you were working in an educational system with technology. So how did you find that niche? Because I know finding your niche is usually, and the more you narrow that down, the more successful you'll be. How did you get there?
Well, it really just started with in corporate America, knowing that was the niche, that I had a love for. I had to write down all of my love. So it involved computers, technology, gadgets. So that was one love. And then it also teaching, right? I always wanted to be a teacher and was always teaching in some capacity. And then I had to target who was that person. And that was really speaking for those who I felt were really misunderstood. And so the niche came together automatically, computer tutor for seniors, automatically on who those people were. And it's truly the new user. So it could be anyone baby boomer and above that feels they don't have the experience on it. But I feel that really helps my marketing because I really narrowed in right away, knowing that that's who I wanted to work with. And so part of my marketing battle was done in the name. It's very clear exactly what I'm tutoring on and who I'm tutoring. So right away.
I love that. You were lucky to be able to really narrow down that niche early. So that's really good.
Yeah.
So talking about marketing, how do you market to those people if they already have difficulty with technology? So how do you reach them?
Yeah, great question. So thankfully, I'm very passionate about marketing, and it's something I spend every single day on. I encourage people that are following their hearts and following their own businesses. There's never one way. Sometimes when we first start a business, we think, oh, if this just happens, I'm going to make it. Or if I could get this, then I'm going to make it. And I really I draw out what I call marketing pie. So about every week, I take a piece of paper and I make a circle and I divide it up in every little piece. And I have to know that since my ideal client is actually not online, I have to use a lot of traditional, offline, 1990s marketing. So it's everything from networking. So I found the right groups, the groups that I really found a good return on, an ROI on, or just a good return on relationship on. And I am consistent. So everything that I choose to do, I make sure I do consistently. I mean, I walk into a networking group, my name tag is on the correct side, so when I shake, people can see my name and remember it. I've got business cards in one, I always wear pockets, business cards on one pocket and empty pocket on the other so I can take them and give them. So I'm ready to rock and roll. I make a marketing calendar, so that particular networking event is on my calendar for the entirety of 2012. And no matter what, that comes first. So I can't suddenly get busy and drop off on showing up to this particular networking group. I also try to fish where the fish are. So, for example, there's a lot of, I happen to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and there's a lot of retirement villages, so assisted living, independent living, active 55-plus communities. So I attempt to participate in any activities that they have, bringing presentations and workshops. I've got to get really physically in front of the people and show them what I can do and meet those decision makers at those different villages and facilities.
Wow, that's terrific. So a lot of your marketing truly is local and offline marketing. Well, it has to be.
Yeah, well, a little bit. So I think of it in this way. So my marketing pie is huge, and it's always evolving. That's what I have to tell all business owners, that it's always evolving. What works for me today might change, and that's okay. I've got to go with the flow, but I've got to stay consistent at what I choose is right for me. Now, the other client that I target in my business are the adult children. So adult children come to me because they don't want to create a challenge or a battle. And it's best to bring in an expert to do that. So when it comes to online, that's who I'm talking to. So LinkedIn company, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook business pages, Twitter, and then also getting onto the forums on AARP. Any which way that I can talk to my customer who's actually online is another way that I'm doing it.
That's terrific. I love that. And I love that you pointed out that you have to, that marketing plan today may change tomorrow. You have to be willing. As a small business owner, I think it's important to know you have to change and be willing to change quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I when I first started, because, I was looking at a lot of the low-hanging fruit. Like, I physically have got to get in front of these people and know that I'm here and I'm committed. So I was doing a lot more networking groups. And over the months, that's evolved. And so there's only one group now that I'm completely consistent with. It's the right group, and I have to measure the ROI from that group. So if it makes sense to make that commitment, then I go. The other groups weren't the right fit, and I wasn't getting the right ROI, and I have to know, is this bringing me, the question I ask for everything, is this bringing me towards my goal? And if it's not bringing me towards my goal, I've got to push it aside. I can revisit it a few months down the road and see if it is, but as I want to serve more and more people, my thinking has to become bigger and bigger of how do I not do one-on-one, but how can I target more people?
Yeah, so that it can be scalable.
Yep.
Well, let me ask you this. How do you use social media in your business? Because I do find that even though you have a senior that might not be as comfortable with a computer, they may have a smartphone, and their families convince them to get onto Facebook. So how does social media play a role in your business?
Social media for marketing?
Yes.
Yeah. So that presence to me is really valuable. I believe in the know, like, trust. Is that the right principle? Yes. Know, like, and trust. And particularly because I'm going into the homes or apartments of seniors, I really want them to see me, see that I hopefully have a friendly face. I'm a real person, and I'm committed. So by being on, for example, my Facebook business page, I can add valuable tips that can be shared that is going to help them and ease the senior's ability on the computer. And then I also add video on there. I also add events. So all of that, they know that I'm here, I'm committed, this is where you can find me, this is, via the videos, this is how you can see me and figure out if you like what I'm saying. And if you like what I'm saying and you get to know me through video, then you can trust me, and that eventually leads to profitability, which is the bottom line of staying in business and helping more people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How difficult was it for you to get into video? Because some people are a little bit hesitant about seeing themselves on camera, or, it's really, I don't know what to do. And so how did you approach that, and what's your outlook on it now?
Video, I believe in just doing. Just do it. Nothing is every business, Starbucks changes every single month. Starbucks today is not what it was. Gosh, how long has it been in business? 30 years? It's not what it was. And so, I'm committed to what I do. And I know I've mentioned that word a lot, committed and consistency. So it means that I'm going to do whatever it takes. So, I try to test myself on the camera beforehand. I've worked on classes to better project my voice, enunciate. So I'm constantly working on myself so that I can improve. But the most important thing is just get out there and do it. It's like riding a bike. I'll get better and better and better every single time. So all I can say is just I can bring value, and the video, the quality of the video, the tips and techniques I learn are obviously, they're just going to change. I follow a lot of the greats out there. Watch your show, pick up tips from your show, David Siteman Garland, Marie Forleo. So I watch people who are doing it, and I benchmark against them and constantly aim to improve what I'm doing. A lot of folks hire personal trainers to work on their physical, but I think that that's a great thing, but also our business side needs to be developed every single day too. And I'm here to commit to the people and bring something good to them.
I love that. I think that's a terrific point because, I make myself get up, not every morning, I should be better about getting on the treadmill. And the whole time that I'm doing that, I'm working my body, but I'm listening to podcast or video podcast every day. And that's just, I don't listen to the TV much. I don't listen to the radio. I'm always listening to something that's going to help me give back to the community, help my clients, and just, become a better person. I love that. And it seems like you're kind of that same way.
Yeah. I've even gone to some churches, and I found some really, wherever I can find a great speaker, I go. So it could be an event, a networking event, a conference, and it could be a church. So down the street from me is South Fork Ranch, and so I'll live stream some of the sermons, and I'm not saying I'm one belief or the other, but the speaker and how they use the inflection in their voice and how they move their body is, you can learn from anything and anyone. And I, pretty like you, just constantly listening. How did they say that? How did they enunciate? How did they raise their voice or soften it? And so as a presenter, I'm always learning that. And for video, I want people to watch me. So I know I've got to do a better job on speaking and, everything that comes with video creation.
That's terrific. So let me ask you this. I know a lot of people that I talk with, they say that they listen and learn from their market. I listen and learn from my market. Do you find that once you get a client and you teach them one thing that they're wanting to know more, or with this age group, are they usually, okay, I have got this is as far as I'm going to go? How do you keep them as being a consistent and long-term customer?
Well, that's something else I've done with my marketing. So most people hire me for a number of sessions, and I really feel that's the best way. It's sort of like going to a chiropractor. You can go to a chiropractor once and definitely feel, they'll crack you around a little bit and you'll feel good. But for long-term effect, you want to go back on a weekly basis or twice a week, depending on what your level is and what your health level is. And so I make sure that we make a plan together. I deliver the information. Not only do I let the senior drive the computer, I sit beside them and I take notes on a piece of paper that I can hand to them and say, this is step by step what we worked on today. And so we book multiple sessions so that I can come back and show them, here are the different tools to connect. And of course, I keep it as filtered and funneled as possible because they need only one email. They don't need to have Yahoo and Gmail, just one email. And I'll introduce some different tools as we go along, such as YouTube, showing them there's knitting videos on YouTube, or they can visit their hometown on Google Maps or Google Earth and fly into it. So I just show them the potential and the possibilities from the comfort of the home, how much independence and freedom they can have just through the use of a computer.
I love that. Let me ask you this then. Your business sounds a lot local. Do you plan on how scalable can you be? Because you're you and you seem very dynamic, and I can see you sitting down with my mother and really having so much more patience and teaching her much better than me. How do you see the growth of your company happening with the scalability of that?
And there's a number of ways that I see for the future. So there's a lot of, right now I'm trying to figure out how to duplicate myself. So my dealers are out there. So I'm looking at some different directions on expanding my tutoring business, just like Geek Squad expanded their tech support business. So I'm looking at some very similar models. And also my whole goal is to serve more people, help more people. The bottom line is just connection. So how can I touch on more people? Because the one-to-one model is going to be too slow for me to get families connected as fast as possible. So I'm coming up with some different certification programs to bring to the higher level retirement centers and senior industry, some joint ventures that I'm working on to really expand that web so much larger to help more people a lot faster than just me. At the meantime, though, I am learning a ton as I'm out here. I'm feet on the street, as I would call it, and picking up as much information as possible and finding some great partners to work with. That's
terrific.
Yeah.
So how do you, now this is just kind of a funny question, but do you find more people where seniors, are they getting like iPads, Macs, PCs? Where are you seeing that shift?
A little bit of everything. And iPad, over Christmas time, the iPad was the gift for the senior. And then PCs and then also Mac. Now I'm pretty opinionated on what I think that they should get. There's some, I'm definitely a Mac person, and I encourage exploration of the right product and the right software for the senior, and please don't base it on price alone. And that's one thing that I do bring on my website in the next couple of weeks. It'll be a really big launch of my technology store. And these are items, I have some very select items that are really important that are very helpful for a senior, that my expert eyes can bring to the adult children to understand why a Mac might be a better option, or why a mouse that is shaped like a ball would be a better option, because a senior's hand has a curved shape to it as we age. So I'm going to bring those points there, but Mac is I always vote for Mac over PC. So.
I converted to a Mac about 3 years ago, and I cannot believe I waited so long.
Yep.
And I have a PC that I use for just QuickBooks. Mm-hmm. But when I go to log on, I am totally lost. But I can't live without my Mac. I would be terrible.
I can't imagine going back, and a lot of people ask me, I speak quite frequently, and I get the question a lot, Mac or PC? And my question is, where can you get the most support? In the days when I had a PC and I ran into trouble, I didn't know where to go. So I'd call anyone, beg my father, like, Dad, please help me. What I find with Apple and Mac, and I don't sell them, so I have no tie just other than I want people to have a great, joyful, simple experience, is that the hardware and software is built in the same place. And if something were to happen, you actually have a place to go. If you're in a major city, there is an Apple store. And, I'll send my clients like coming to me for more of the custom support. But I say, Apple is, you can walk into a store and bring your laptop, your iPad, and say, help, teach me. They have classes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to go where that hardware and software is in one place. But the challenge is PC can be a little bit cheaper.
Sure.
So I always say hardware is half the battle for any age. Spend some money there.
I agree 100%. I agree that way for business as well. But yeah, it's funny because I walked into the Apple store the other day. I was having trouble with my phone. I walk in, they're teaching the class, and there were probably 3 classes going on, and the average age was probably 60-ish. So yeah. I like that because they were in there. It was quite inspiring, actually.
Yeah, that's fantastic. It's great to have the support, and I really, I'm always inspired by Apple and what's been created there. Just a place to really, they built a tribe, and I think that's really important with marketing, is to build that tribe and
yeah, I agree. One thing that I've picked up on from our conversation is that you've done a lot of research with your market. It seems like you really understand your market, and if you, like you said, you follow Marie Forleo, and if she really talks about knowing and understanding your customer avatar, and until you get to that point and really understand them, you can't be successful. So I can tell by just listening to you, you talked about the mouse, you talked about many different things, so I think that plays a big role in other people's businesses as well.
Yeah, you really want to. That's why I say, just start. Whatever it is, just go, because what you think you'll find out that everything is completely 360, and you'll learn as you go. So, find out where you need to market, talk to other people who are targeting the same demographic, not competition, but just targeting the same demographic, and learn what you can and join forces. Just to know that, I don't find that the iPad is the most brilliant tool for a senior. Why? What is Safari? I love Safari, but what does Safari mean to someone who's never heard of Safari?
Right.
It's not, they don't understand it's a web browser. And I'm speaking generally, I'm not speaking about every single senior, because senior is such a broad category, but understanding how they think, how they can hear me, how they touch things. A lot of my female clientele have very long fingernails. Do you know how difficult that is to swipe on an iPad when that interface is something that's very new? It's usually getting tapped on with a long fingernail. It's those little details that sometimes get missed. I'm not speaking for everybody, but those are little things. I can definitely bring that information and value, and I share on my Facebook page and share when I'm presenting around Dallas.
I love that. I mean, I really, really admire how much work it seems that you've put into the research of your ideal client. So let me ask you, if someone wanted to connect with you, or someone has a family member that they need some education for technology, where's the best place to reach you?
Gosh, well, the best place to start would be my website, and that's www.computertutor, the number 4, seniors.com. And then on there, you'll find my Facebook page, my Twitter account, and LinkedIn. And I love talking to families, and I love to help. And if I can be a part of that process, then please, feel free to reach out to me, shoot me an email.
Awesome. Hey, Becca, if you were going to give a lady out there one tip to start a business, what would you say?
One tip.
The biggest one. I think you've already said it. You've said just do it. But what advice would you give someone, it just have to be one, but what advice would you give someone that's like, oh, should I, shouldn't I don't know what to do? What would you say to that person?
Oh my gosh, you can't just tell me one thing.
It doesn't have to be one thing. It can be anything.
Definitely, make a plan. Know that it'll always cost a little bit more money than you ever plan for. So if you need to keep that part-time job or keep your job as you're getting started, and then just do it. Do your research. Get involved in a networking group, because that's the most local thing that you can participate in right away. And then find somebody that you can work with. Come to your website and listen to how other people did it, and know that no one is an overnight success. It is lots of trials, lots of challenges, and market. I spend half of my day every day. It might be 1 to 5. It could be from 9 o'clock at night to 1 in the morning, marketing and figuring out what is next and making that calendar. Be consistent, but just do it. So that way you can get your feet wet and figure out what exactly is it that you want to do and how it'll evolve once you get involved in that project.
I think that is terrific advice, and I agree 100%. Just getting there and getting out there. This has been wonderful. I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
And you're a Texas girl. I love that. We can almost throw rocks at each other. We're so close. We should connect. We should connect locally.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be on the show.
Thank you. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I think I think I'm just, again, I've said this before, but I'm so enamored by the fact that the amount of research you put into who your customer is. That's awesome. Thank you, Becca.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, that's our show, and thanks again for tuning in. Hey, I have a huge favor. I'd like for you to join us over at www.successfulwomentalk.com. Join our email list, and on that list, you'll be a VIP. You'll be receiving all of our newest updates, newest interviews, our newsletter, and any tips and tricks we have for organizing your business and getting raving fans and customers that actually just sing your praises. So again, thanks again for tuning in. Check us out next week for another episode of SuccessfulWomenTalk.com. Thanks, guys.